Nani amechukua vitu kutoka hapa?
Say food is life, money is life, marriage and children is life to some, wealth and prestige, big mansions and big cars is life to most of us. Well, I don't disagree, no, that's the part of it, but I don't agree. Neither. Music is life. Music is life to me. Straight to my heart, it softens my mind. It's life. Music is life to me. Yeah. Oh. Music speaks the deepest emotions of our hearts. Be you in pain, be you in love, be you in joy, music says it. When we're broken, music gathers our pieces back to what fall. Oh. Be you black, be you white, music is a language of unity, be you poor, be you rich, yeah. Music is life.
Are we supposed to join in?
Welcome
to the show. Thank you very much for showing up, Lumumba. This is Friday edition, and that's how we start the day. Remember, we are having very many artists in the course of the next 2 hours. We have the first lot where we have Lumumba there, who started off the show for us. Thank you very much for joining us and for making time to grace us with your lovely voice. The day one.
Yes.
Mambo.
Poa sana.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Unawakilisha mtaa gani?
Kasarani.
Kasarani.
Yeah.
Mbona sijasikia Kasarani, nimesikia tu mas. Kuna kitu unajua ya mas?
Hapana.
Hapana. Sawa.
Okay.
Welcome to the show, day one. Why that name?
It's a name I was given to by my friend.
Yes.
Because I'm a type of guy who lives a first impression. Yeah, so he called me Day One.
Day one.
Yes.
Because every time I hear day one, there's an N word somewhere that I don't want to. It's nothing related to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So Raphael Ndegwa.
Yes.
Karibu sana to the show.
Nashukuru.
You're representing the MCSK.
Sure.
How has your week been? You know why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Raphael Ndegwa, Head of Finance and Distribution
Sure.
at the Music Copyright Society of Kenya. It's been a heavy week.
It's been a heavy week.
He'll be telling
Busy
us,
week.
busy week. Also heavy, come on. Let's just, he'll be telling us in a bit why his week has been heavy. We all know why, but we want to hear it from him. Lumumba, we'll start off with you. When did you start doing music?
That's usually a question I find very hard to precisely tag a date on.
Yeah.
Because you see, music is it's that thing. It's like any other thing that you grow into slowly.
Yes.
But basically, let me say I've been on casual music spree all my life, but it's up until let me say up until 4 years ago that I decided now to deliberately start pursuing music as a career.
Yes.
In the past, I would just sing in occasional choirs, get into a band, sing, for fun mainly.
When there's a party, you're the guy being told, sing for us.
Sing, come with your guitar, do for us something. So
Yes.
back then I didn't envision it as a long-term dream.
Yes.
Up until 3 to 4 years ago that I said, okay, now I want to package this and just pursue this more probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Day one, how has it been for you?
I started rapping back in 2013. I was still in high school. But on 2015, I started producing. So from there on, it's been a whole different story,
Yeah.
because it's been hard also. I produce my own music,
Yes.
but it's hard for an upcoming artist to actually get attraction, because I'm doing I'm a hip hop artist, but you can see in the scene, the most popular thing right now is a gengeton. Yeah, so yeah.
So you feel a bit misplaced right now.
Not exactly misplaced. Let's say not appreciated enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know everything has a season, right?
Yes.
So this time we are feeling that kind of bit, and the next time it's hip hop, and
Yeah.
it's just a wave.
Okay.
So don't give up yet.
Okay.
Before we come back to Raphael, Lumumba, I want you to tell me how this works, because both of you have the same kind of story. You're saying you just started singing now and then, on and off, and then now you decided to take it as a serious career path. What was your turning point? Like, what made you make this decision?
My turning point, first, this one usually sometimes comes a little bit.
Was money the motive?
Cooking.
Did you feel like if I now package myself nicely, I get to earn a few
Not
coins?
really.
Yeah?
Not really. Actually, I actually think that is my strength. The
Okay.
fact that I'm not looking at my music as my source of
Income.
finance.
Okay.
Because then that makes me not to get easily driven by the commercialization bit of it.
Okay.
Because in my opinion, the identity of an individual is lost through the expectation. Like, this is what the market wants, so you start aligning yourself
To
with
what-
the needs of the
yes.
market. Then you end up with music that is meant for the market and not music that
So
defines
your
you.
originality dies.
Authenticity dies.
Yes.
So for me, that has always been key for me, and people will tell you, the people around me have always pushed me, do something different, but I love my kind of music. And what I believe people don't know, like what he's saying, I think the misconception, and it's a long shot to have to look at it that way. I believe we as artists lose ourselves when we want to do music for the market. Because the market wouldn't know how good your music is until they've heard it.
Yes.
Like, if you go on a new menu in a hotel, you didn't know how different this meal tastes until you actually try it, until it's on the table. So if all the artists will come and they try to do one kind of a tune, the market wouldn't know what else exists.
Yeah, so they're tuned to that.
Yes, yeah. So what I usually believe is your kind of music defines your niche for you, and before you know it, because like for me, my biggest selling points, I wouldn't lie, is the corporates, because I do live events, I do live music, and in the corporate niche, and people who just really are looking for authentic music.
So you have your crowd.
You have your crowd.
Yes.
You get it, and you just define it slowly by slowly.
And keep going.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what inspired you.
Yes.
And how about you? I'm sure you started with the ciphers, they're going to Sarakasi. Have you ever been there?
Yeah, I've been there.
You see?
Yeah.
Those kind of platforms, KNT.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
For me, after high school, I decided to actively take my music career into seriously. So right now I got it's called a program called FL Studio. That's where everything happens for me. Yeah. So in my line, there are not really many artists in the hip hop industry. The only big ones are Calligraph, Octopus are the ones that are actually recognized by a lot of people. But there's really a lot of talent here that we are sleeping on. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you get your money apart from the corporate? Like, you're saying it's not like your priority.
Yeah.
So you have other jobs you're doing, so it's not like a main thing.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay. So
yes.
you're sustained by other sources of income. How is it for you? Is it music is what is putting something on your table?
Not really. Not yet.
I put it the way, what is this? She's called who? Queen Africa. There she puts it, pot still happy bubble, like that her music is what puts something on the table.
Oh, okay.
How is it for you?
For me, I'm still in school. I'm doing design. That year, Nairobi University. So music is just a passion
What are
for
you
me.
studying?
I'm studying design.
Design.
Yeah.
Nice.
Music is a passion for me. It's a talent. basically it's something I really want to do in future. So that's why I'm taking my time, perfecting my art for the pole. I don't want to rush it. I don't want to get influenced with all these
So you
upcoming
manage
things.
between your school schedule and the gigs
Yes.
you do outside.
Yes.
Are you a member of MCSK?
I'm a member of Prisk and Camp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are you not a member of MCSK?
Of course, I've had a lot of stories about MCSK, so I decided to go with Prisk. Yeah.
Okay. Are you a member of MCSK?
I am a member of MCSK. I'm yet to receive mine. I think maybe he'll just sort me.
That is why he's here.
Yeah,
Ask him.
Yeah,
So that we can.
I
you can
already
have,
asked him where's my money.
No side chat. So
So-
that you can have witnesses.
Yeah. So, but I'm a member of Prisk as well. I think I would align with him as well. There's a lot about MCSK that I
Makes people-
honestly, in my opinion, find gray.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not very understandable. So I thought Prisk was a more direct body.
It's
to,
upfront, like when they tell you this is what we are offering, this is what we are doing, you understand
Yes.
it, and there's no
and
gray
actually
area.
someone takes you through it, so you understand what you're engaging yourself
Okay.
with. Yes.
How long have you been a member of MCSK?
MCSK, that should be, I think, a year and a half now.
A year and a half. How has it been for you? Have you ever gained anything?
I'm yet to. I'm yet to gain anything from them, so that's a no.
So Mr. Raphael is here. Karibu sana to the hot seat.
Nashukuru. Is that why it's red?
That's why it's red, so that you're ready. Welcome to the show. This is Friday edition, where we have this open discussions like this. No one is getting attacked, so just feel free to answer their queries. So like Lumumba has said, he's been a member for a year. So when you're enlisting someone, what exactly are you putting on the table? Like, what are you telling this person?
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes.
When we register you as an artist, as a member, not as an artist, we do not register you to come and earn. That's something that people need to understand. But we shall collect royalties on your behalf and remit the amounts to you. So if you register and that's it, you're seated down, nothing comes, you'll only get maybe general distribution, just like was done a few days ago. But it's up to you to push your music out, have it on rotation all over. We get royalties from radio stations, from TV stations, from matatus, from name it.
From business premises.
From business premises.
Yes.
And then you will start earning royalties. It's never the most source of your income. You'll see, if you're getting corporate shows, they'll pay you more than the royalties you're going to get, definitely. But at the end of the day, even when your music, even when you're not on stage, but your music is still playing, you will still continue earning your royalties. Yeah.
But Raphael, how can a decision like the one you made a few days ago happen? Because this is not the reality on the ground. You're saying I gave all the members a general distribution. It was what, 2,500? Na 30 ya kutoa. Na 30 ya kutoa.
No. Even the withdrawal charges were still in that. You get to 2,530.
Okay, 25, 30. But how, you know, there's music we know that is on high rotation everywhere. Ukipita kwa kinyozi, ukiwa wapi. So how is it you're saying that it is the artist now who has to push, then you guys go around collecting for them?
All right. Now, the way CMOs run everywhere around the world, they cannot individually go collecting royalties from every other user. So they form an organization and they govern the organization through rules. And the major place to make the rules is during the AGMs and the seminars that they visit, but mostly AGM. And in the AGMs, they have passed rules, what we call distribution rules.
Okay.
Now, we collect from different users. We'll go to the general public, performance in public places.
Yes.
That includes supermarkets, kinyozis, bars, matatus, name them. Those don't provide the usage of music. You'll not go to a bar and ask them, what did you play yesterday? Or the last 1 month, what have you been playing? So from that, we are not able to ascertain 100% that this is his music. So then we have broadcasters and telcos.
But there's a fee you collect in every establishment, which is how much?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
Now, I'll come to broadcasters who clearly tell you this is the money that I've given you, and these are the songs that I've done. Yes. So in the distribution rules that members make, we have categories of distribution. And one of the categories of distribution is a general distribution that touches on every member, because I'm not able to tell these artists in Marara what music was playing around there. So we give them an average of something at least once or twice per year. General distribution is done twice per year. And even when you do a scientific, that's the one that you're saying per the airplays, yes. Even when you do that, we still retain a small portion for any music that we may not have monitored. So this time, after collections, we've not been having a license for the last 2 years. So when you got the license in April, we collected for 2 months. We actually raised 118 million. We took off the costs of collecting that, and we're left with 80 million. 80 was divided between MCSK, Kenya Association of Music Producers, and PRISC. So our share was 40 million. Okay. Our share of 40 million, after 2 years of not paying any artist any amount of money, the board decided that we do the general distribution as per the rules of distribution. And that went to every artist that we have, 2,530, yes, you said.
But still, are you comfortable with what he's explaining?
Already, I'll try to just seek clarification on this from 2 angles.
Right.
Yes. Number one, from a taxpayer of your collection. I run a barbershop, an executive barbershop, someplace in Kankore. The Shuchi Barberia, by the way, welcome for the best cuts.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happens is, one of your guys came in. Don was seeking licensing for this thing, and well, I didn't come up front to him as an artist and someone who understands this, but I really wanted to understand where he was coming from and all this, and I really engaged him. One thing that I have to say about you people, or let me say you people as a body, you have not equipped your people with sufficient information about what you're doing and how it trickles down. And that already makes, you see, whenever the information is not clear, the upfront reaction from me would be defensive, and I start looking at you more as
an adversary,
a dishonest person,
someone who's out to exploit.
Yes, because when you can't answer simple questions, like I asked him, okay, so how do you dictate how much? Because this guy comes, looks at my space, and is like, this space should be 7,500. So I asked him, how did you ascertain that?
Yes.
He's like, we have big spaces and small spaces. And I was like, if you came here with some kind of quantitative measurements and told me, this is how we measure square feet, this, and this. And then I asked him a very simple question. So when you say that you're collecting royalties and protecting people over me, what is happening about me who's not even playing, for example, local music? Yeah. Let me say if I'm at the Barberia and someone is playing international music, how do you trickle down into saying, now this is local music that I'm collecting royalties for? And how can you say, because he was telling me, big clubs, you pay this and this and this. I was like, first of all, big clubs are commissioned to do that. It's the entertainment industry. For me, music is secondary. You get it? My main thing is something else. So music is an entertainment venture. So there were a lot of unsureties in his responses. Eventually, I told him, I'm sorry to say this, but eventually I told him, I'll give you what is the most minimal that someone is supposed to pay. Then he told me it's 6,250. Yes. So I told him, okay, that's what I'm going to give you. Then he's like, okay, let me go redo the math and then bring. And then he actually brought me an invoice for that. And then I was like, so where is the standard?
So Raphael, are we collecting based on space? Like, enlighten us. What exactly are we doing? Are you doing? Not even we. What are you doing? He's saying the guy looked at the space and said, I've had so many people complain, like probably when I go to a parlor, and that guy is there. He's like, license it's actually, the approach is really bad. They harass people. So first of all, by that, someone is not even willing to give out the money. Then you see he's parting with 7,000 shillings and then getting 2,000 shillings. And then how many times do they collect?
He told me it's an annual thing.
It's an annual thing.
Once a year.
Yeah, once a year.
So because that one I know they do religiously. Every establishment has to have that license and updated. So how many businesses do we have? So how much money have you collected and how much are you giving them?
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me start first by apologizing for the officer who went on the ground and maybe could not one way or the other express himself. We have a very diverse tariff that we use to license people, and part of it could be space. There is a seating capacity, and that's just depending on the user. If we go to an aircraft, we're not going to talk about their space because really you will entertain only the people who are seated into it. When you go to barber shops and such, supermarkets, you'll have to go for space because you can't count the number of people who are coming in and going. So the tariffs are a gazetted tariff. That means it's in the law that you need, these are the tariffs that you need to pay for certain establishments. So yes, for a barber shop, they will have to go for space. How much space do you have? Not the number of seats, because in any time there could be just 2 seats that you're operating from. But now the space on all the people that you're entertaining. And we'll collect only for commercial public places where their copyrighted works are being exploited. So how many users do we have? We have numerous. We have many users, in excess of half a billion users. But unfortunately, not like you're saying, most of them are not paying, especially most of those who should be paying. Those who actually have a lot to pay from, not the barber shop that pays the minimum, 6,000. You can imagine how much it costs to go get that 6,000 all over the world. But the broadcasters especially, none of them in the last 2 years have been paying for all the music that they've been using. The radios, the TVs, they've not been doing. Telcos too.
What has been the challenge? Because I know for a fact there was a station I was working at and they actually came in with armed askaris to access the log to see which artist was being played at what time and at what frequency. You see, so I'm saying you guys are really assertive when it comes to collecting the royalties, but we're not seeing that from the Msani's side. Because I know you people go all out. There were armed guards to access the log to see if Day One has been played, if Lumumba has been played, how long you've been playing him, and on what rotation. So where's the problem?
I don't know which station you were in.
You're not mentioning names.
We won't. But I can tell you,
yes.
we would rarely go to a station and ask them, give us
logs. So what is the
to
challenge
enforce,
with the station?
To enforce getting logs. They should actually give us the logs they have. 2-3 years ago, I had, I think, 49 million to distribute from media houses. Okay. And I wrote to all the media houses telling them, hey, please help us with the logs of the artists that you've played, since I have your money. We even have the emails communicating, telling them, I have this amount of money coming from your station, and I need to distribute. Please give me logs. And none of them, for the fear that once we learn what they are playing, we may ask for more. So we went back and got a monitoring platform. It's called Vericast, that monitors works that are done in TV stations. Yes. Now, that way we are able to ascertain. So we would never go to our studio to try and ask them, you have to tell us, because we know what you're playing. However, the enforcement is the last stage of licensing. Like you said, an artist, a licensing officer went over to put in an invoice and said, you need to pay this amount of money. Unfortunately, he didn't express himself very well, but told him this is the amount. If he did not pay at that moment, then after a period of time, he would have received a notice, a demand notice. Hey, we came over to your place, give you an invoice, and you've not paid up to this. Then after that, after some period of time that you've not paid, we'll give you now notice of breach. We'll tell you now what you're doing. You're infringing on copyrighted work. So you've not been paying for this, you invoiced, we've reminded you, and now we're telling you you are in breach of these sections, and this is what can befall you. It's only after that that now we'll come and enforce, because it's the law. It's actually the law that you must pay for this. So now that we've given all that and you're not paying, then we will come and enforce. Unfortunately,
so the one I witnessed had defaulted.
Sure.
Jay, I can see you have questions for Raphael. Ask them. This is the platform.
I just need to clarify something. What was the criteria for distributing the money to every artist? And according to me, what I had, every artist got 2,500. Like, and you know, not
and
every
30 bob.
Yeah, and 30 bob.
Very keen on the 30 bob.
And not, as you can see, some artists were played more than the other artists, but they all received the same amount of money. Like, what was the criteria for distributing that money?
Okay, like I said, we have categories. We have general distribution and we have scientific distribution. For broadcast and telcos, those that gives you logs, and I'm sure that day one song was played, I will use the logs. And that's what we are going to next. Now, the first payment after 2 years, we did the general. And these rules, the distribution rules, are passed by members. It's members who actually say, this is what we want, this is how we want the money is collected, shared. You will agree with me that it is impossible for us to tell which song played in any matatu that was going around or any barber shop that's around the country. So if we go strictly by the logs that we get from broadcasters and telcos, and we say these are the only artists that we're going to pay, we're going to end up infringing on some artists. You went to your neighbor, they have a salon, they have whatever they have, you give them their flash disc, and they are playing your music in their shop, and they have paid this amount of money. It's impossible. So we say that we have to retain a small amount of money that's payable to everyone. Little amount of money payable to everyone. And that way, if I missed you anywhere in my monitoring, you will not be out in the cold. So that was the first. Only 2 months of collection. It has been given to everyone after 2 years. Next, we're going to go to a scientific way. Now, here's a catch. If the broadcasters don't give us logs, we need to monitor from our side to establish how much of the music is being played. Now, for us to monitor, you need to deliver that music over to us. And we put it in our system, the Vericast monitoring platform. That platform, every time it's played from all the stations it's monitoring, it will keep a log on it.
So have you empowered your artists to know that? Because how many know? Did you know that?
No,
did you know that?
No. And actually, I think, just to cut you short, I think when I look at your differentiation of the general distribution and the scientific distribution, I get it totally. And I think deep down artists don't have particularly a problem with that. The problem with people is even the general distribution is so meager.
Little.
It's very little. It doesn't resonate with what apparently is assumed of your collections. You get it? Because I'm assuming, how many members do you have in MSK Forever?
We have in excess of 14,000 members.
14,000 members.
Yes.
Yes. So we're talking 14,000 members. I literally feel myself being able to do this math. 14,000 by say 2,000.
500.
You're talking about 500,000.
No.
Yeah, like
we're talking about 1 million. We're talking about 40 million.
50 million,
40,
right?
40 million now.
40 million. And if I remember your math very well, you see, like, I can't get into your figures, but what
I can break down the figures
Yes.
from 118
Okay.
to the figure 2,500 that you got. We did collection of 118 million shillings.
Yeah.
The law, the regulator allows us to spend 30% of that in administrative cost. I have to pay offices, pay staff, pay for fuel for those going round.
So what you were left with is now what's now
70%.
you're giving to.
Now 70% we are collecting together as CAMP, PRISC, and MCSK. So there was an agreed share ratio, and MCSK got 60% of the amount, which came to 44 million. Now the 44 million, MCSK does not represent only local artists. We have what we call reciprocal agreements with CMOs all over the world. So we have to put their share aside. You cannot discriminate between Kenyan and other artists that you represent. So we set aside their funds. At this time, it was set around 3 million. The tax, you have to pay your tax, which is 5% of the royalties that you receive. We put that aside. Then give 2,500 for each and every artist.
So how,
for the 40
Raphael,
million.
do you mitigate this? Because I'm saying, if he's doing a song, he's put so much into it, right? He's put an investment for him to put out that song. And then now you people are saying, when you've collected, I'm seeing you explaining that the larger share goes to AOBs, according to them, not
Actually.
the artist. It should be the other way around. The artist comes first, then now you handle your administrative costs. Gee, the other partner gets 70%. Don't you think that's a challenge? Why haven't you put the artist first?
Okay, let's see.
Because
Before
after
I
you've
make
done
any
all of
collection,
those, Raphael, unabaki na nini?
yeah.
Actually, it looks
Yeah?
more like it looks more like you've brought artists to establish for you a business where they make revenue for you and you use the money to run your businesses and then leave them with
what's
something.
left
It's
over?
not about the artists anymore. It's
That's
about
how it
Let's
looks.
put it like this.
Okay.
MCSK is actually owned by the artists. They formed an organization. Like I said, they cannot all go out and collect royalties. So they form an organization. That's the CMO. So this organization that they have formed has to operate. So they employ their employees. So, and let's start from there. Whether or not they make to collect any amount of money, you've employed them. You've hired offices for them. Whether or not they make amount of money, you will still have to pay offices. You have to pay power, you have to pay for water, any other bills. So the 30% cannot come after. It's actually in the process. You sending them to Kawangware, you either give them fare to go to Kawangware or you hire for them. So the 30% is used actively. It's not like we get these 118, so take this, that, take off. No, you were given a sticker, isn't it? It has to be printed. So this is the cost of running business. And it's only 30%. The 70% has been left for the artists. But it's different. We have different categories of rights. Like MCSK stands for the copyright. Copyright, we have the author, the one who writes the lyrics. We have the composer, comes with the tune. We have arranger, and we have publisher, person who puts in money and marketing onto it. So those are the copyright. That's the copyright that we represent. Then we have the performers. They have who will perform the song. In Kenya, most of the people are their own performers. They write and perform their own works. So people don't get to get the difference. Then there is the producer who actually paid for this, for it to be, when it was being fixated, who paid for that. So in Kenya, like I said again, people do all that. So you are the author, you're the composer, you're the arranger, you're the publisher and performer of your own works, and the producer. Yeah. So we may not get the difference, but now we have to get from the backside. So when we get the 70%, which is the bulk of the money, now has to be shared amongst these people. Like I said, we only collected for 2 months. Only 2 months, not for the whole year. And within 2 months, we gave 14,000 there, about 2,500. That's 40 million. And that's what we have.
But Raphael, you see, you're insisting on these 2 months, but MCSK has been operational for like forever, before
35 years.
Yes, before you lost the light. And the challenges are the same, year in, year out. You see, they're not even convinced and they're right here. Because it has been the same thing. Unajitetea na 2 months, but the complaints have been the same. That's why when he's offered Prisk and the other one is camp. He'd rather enroll there because he knows he'll get something substantial. Jay, you have a question.
And you see, you don't register for free.
No, you don't. There's a registration fee.
Yeah.
So technically, they're just giving you back your...
we have different categories. Like we have the other composer arranger, you will, and you're doing your own works, you'll register with 5,000.
You see?
If you're publisher, it will be 10,000 for the works, one-off payment for the artist. So let me go back to your question that you're asking now. It's not the first time, so let's not talk about the 2,500 anymore. So let's talk about...
the 2 months.
Yeah, let's
we'll still talk about 2,500, but you keep saying we've been operation in 2 months, 2 months, but you've been operational.
Let's go to the other.
Yes.
For the other amount of money, when you're doing the scientific, we've actually paid. There's a time that we had an artist earn in excess of 1 million in a certain year, and I can remember that was published when we had that. However, a big problem that we have with people when you register with the CMO, you register only with the works that you have at that moment. So it's your first album, maybe it's just 2 tracks or something, and they come and register with it. After that, they do not provide us with any other albums that they provide.
Do you have workshops where you sensitize these people on the stage?
Yes,
because
we do.
They're right here, they have no idea. They're supposed to keep updating you with their music.
Actually, I was just coming there. I think you have a big vacuum, either deliberately or non-deliberately, of not volunteering sufficient information. Yes. Because, for instance, when I went to Prisk, I'll just tell you, when I went to Prisk, there's this lady who, first of all, took me through everything. It's like, this is what it means, this is what you'll be getting, nini, nini. And then she told me, now, you register with your current songs, we need a copy of this. And she told me, every other time you bring in any new works, kindly bring them on board. So like right now, anytime I have something, whenever I'm uploading on YouTube or whatever, I'm also thinking,
station, you take
yes,
it to,
I take it to Prisk. Yeah. Okay. So then I'm sensitized and I know this and this is happening. So that no one is playing, I don't hear people playing my music and I don't know how this comes along. And I've been with them for the same time because I registered at the same time. And they gave me like, I think 5,000. And then a message told me that was the first the distribution at the beginning of the year, and then another. And that made so much sense to me. Then I come to this side, you people are already taking a lot in terms of registration. I find that already a lot. And if you ask me, this payment was just giving you back your registration money, or a bit of it. And then now the actual royalties can't be traced.
Because Raphael, you see, MCSK is looking at it as in general. We are giving 70%. Lumumba is saying that 70% to you is not how I see it. I'm saying 2,500. I've registered with 5K. I paid 7K. So already he's seeing it as himself. So I think this is how MCSK should be looking at the artist, as they won, as Lumumba. Oh, no, 70%. But it's not resonating with the artist. So I think way forward, you should be looking at how an individual artist can feel they have actually gained from being a member of MCSK, because it has been year in, year out of complaints. The one we interrupted you, sorry, you're asking something.
Yeah, I have a question. You said you also pay the songwriters, the producers, all that.
No, not producers, no. We just deal with the author, the songwriter, composers, publishers and arrangers of works.
How about him who's doing everything?
Yes, now the other payment now will have to, because we have very distinct roles. The other amount, like I said, the 80 million was divided between MCSK, Camp and Priest.
Yes.
So when we pay you as the other composer, arranger and publisher, and you're the producer of your own works, then Kenya Association of Music Producers needs to pay you for the same works that I've done. The Performers' Rights Society of Kenya needs to pay you for the same. So we cannot pay you for the producer because someone else is doing exactly that. For performers, we can't do that. But for copyright, we shall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why has it been a problem for all these years, and we're still saying the same thing year in, year out, year in, year out?
Because, Raphael, this is the thing. If they're members of your society and they're trying to tell you, you have meetings, right?
Yes.
And they tell you this is a challenge this year, this is a challenge next year, and yet we have it repeated over and over again, to the point where you got to lose the license because of these complaints. Are you seeing the problem?
Let's start with this. I know there are issues mostly.
Yes.
I think they registered at the time that we lost the license if they have been with us for 2 years, so they've not been there. But even when he lost the license, we've had 2 AGMs and 1 seminar here in Nairobi. And I don't know whether any of you attended any of them. And we put the notice in the local dailies. Every time we are going to do that, we announce and we send a text over to the members. We are going to have this. Unfortunately, very few members turn up.
And those who turn up come with stones, because I have
No,
seen
no,
those
no, no, no,
meetings.
no, that's
Yes,
a lie.
they post the fights.
Okay,
Okay.
please upload that.
I
I'm
will,
not
bring
saying
the,
that.
I will WhatsApp you the evidence. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, you know, sometimes there's a show I saw that was in the country, and people, things went south, and people started uploading Jamaican content saying that that's what happened in the area. So that happens, but we never have fights over. Now, we send text over to people telling them, please attend these. Unfortunately, most of them don't. And this is a fight that we've been having. The artists have categorized themselves into 2 categories. Uptown and the River Road. Sorry, I don't like that because they register. So they register, and it turns out that those they call in the River Road side actually do attend and actively participate in the running and setting the rules that they have. But the Uptown artists, unfortunately, we're too comfortable behind tweeting and such, and we do not go there when the rules are being made. So yes, we agree. We're going to scientific, and when you get even to scientific distribution, those people who brought music over to us are the River Road people. The others, you registered with your first album. We have songs playing, but I cannot write. Like I say, there are 4 rights in a song. I'm not going to assume that since day one, he owns those rights. I'll explain about one song that we did because the splits are ever there. Every time Mwema plays on in TVs, I see that it's written by Mr. V. So I know Mwema does not belong solely to Mercy Masika. Yes. And I also know that the publisher, sorry, the composer, was done by someone else in the studio because they have declared that to us. Yes. So if I have here Mwema and I can't just come and say, hey, Mercy Masika, I've heard your song, so this song belongs to you. You have to come and you declare that in what you call the split sheet. Yes. You tell us who's the author. And they have actually done that. And then we know what share goes to these other person. Yes. So that's something that people need to do, because if I don't have your music, then I'm not monitoring you. Believe you me, you're losing. And the moment, I'll just take the amount of money I have, the number of works that I have, and just share.
So basically, your parting shot is we're running out of time.
Sure.
Your parting shot is the artist has to keep updating their music.
They have
what
to.
else?
You have to, and then you have to keep
And
abreast.
attend the AGMs.
We always actually we're very active on social media. You actually get to know. You can see we've been responding to all these issues about the 30 bob ya kutoa, and people have been editing that, saying that, oh, there's some people that we paid more. No, everybody got equal amount of money.
The general distribution.
Yeah, they say Diamond got, no, Diamond has not been paid because he's an international artist. So yes, just keep on following us, but update our music. Same way you do with YouTube. Every time you have music, please update us, and you will get a fair share in the scientific distribution. However, in general distribution, it will be equal.
Okay. Yeah. And also moving forward for MCSK, what are you doing better for the artists? Because they're complaining. This is just a representation.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We're trying to reach out to them most of the times, but the attendance to our meetings is slow, but we'll try and keep them because we've realized that they're very comfortable. Maybe
do you think if you
online.
Probably raise the amount you're giving to them, they'll show up for the meetings? Because I'm sure they're feeling it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I'm putting words in
It
their
is.
mouth. Because like I've paid 7,000, I'm paying the membership, and then now you give me 2,500 and then tell me come for a meeting. Will I show up?
Yeah, okay.
To tell me what?
One of the things, by the way, now, and I agree, we need to do is
Yes.
go for the heavy users of music. Believe you me, in that barber shop, music, you said, is secondary. It is very important in that, but it's not the main thing. However, the main users of these are broadcasters, and they have not deliberate.
That will raise the amount the artist
a
gets.
lot. When you go to other countries, 80% of their earnings comes from broadcasters and telcos. So once we get to broadcasters, once they agree to come on board, and they stop telling you that they're giving you exposure, you can't take exposure at the end of the day. There's nothing to show for exposure.
Yeah.
They need to, yes, give you the exposure, but still pay for your copyright. It's very hard for you to produce Unit 1.
Your final?
Yeah, I'll say 3 final things very quickly. Number 1, I'm a teacher. We are 2 and we already look dissatisfied.
Yeah.
It is the general representation. You want to be very worried if you're at the helm of operational power and everyone seems unhappy. You can never justify
business as usual.
Yeah, you can never justify to the point of saying, I have all the answers. You need to do something. So I think you need to sit down with your team. You need to really re-strategize on this. I read a quick tweet from Dana Seda. A very good friend of mine, yeah. And he was trying to give you guys solutions, and it made a lot of sense. Number 1, we also need members in your team who really understand the current music dynamics. We have very old musicians who've not had content out in 5 years at the helm of that power. This is a very dynamic industry. And you need someone who understands what is working now, what is not working now, what is not happening and what is not happening. What you're saying about businesses, I agree with you. You need to go more on the bigger users of entertainment. Make entertainment ventures be the people who pay for entertainment. Don't go to a mama who's running a salon and make him pay for music that they are playing. Or if you have to do that, then make the tariffs affordable enough to make that sensible. So that the world is not seeing people who are collecting so much and giving very little.
Yes.
Then eventually you need to work on sensitization. So that when we are seated like this, you talk things and I resonate with what you're saying because I understand what you're saying. You do not wait until the bomb is down and then now you start solving issues because now you look defensive and all that. I think that's it. Yeah.
For me,
Day One, if you need to say something that he needs to hear, you can say it here, but we'll still have you after the break. So is it something he needs to hear?
I have one thing, because right now I know people are actually filing for this deregistration from MCSK, so you really need to do something about that. Second thing is you really need to be clear on how everything is managed in MCSK and how you get your royalties and everything basically. Because
so
right
basically
now,
when you're recruiting someone, make sure they understand what they're getting.
Yeah, because now I'm getting news here, some things I didn't even know about. So on the registration, you need to be clear about everything before someone actually registers on the platform.
Okay. So that has been a very hot discussion. Raphael, you've had a wonderful week with the MCSK and artist one-on-one questions. This is Engage. This is Friday edition. I beg your pardon. Oh my goodness. This is Friday edition on TV47. You can continue interacting with us via our Twitter handles at TV47KE. Facebook is TV47 Kenya, and then my personal handle at Angie Wangeshi on Twitter. Let's take a short break. When we come back, more artists and more interactive discussions.